Welcome back to Cinema Corner. I'm Blake, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Alex and Josh.
And today we are recapping San Diego Comic-Con that just happened this past weekend, or the last weekend. It's in the last couple weekends. Mainly Marvel, because DC didn't really show up again. They dropped a trailer to one of their shows, and actually, it wasn't even at Comic-Con. They dropped the trailer for Clayface, but that was a couple days prior to that, so that's even crazier to think about. They really came with nothing. But yeah, we're just going to talk about basically that from DC and everything that Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios announced for the future at Marvel.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting that they did the Clayface. They did no presence of Clayface anything at Comic-Con, even though that's movie is coming out this year.
Film. Yeah.
So, Josh, what are your thoughts on the Lanterns trailer?
Yeah, Blake. So it looks like we're just following this classic theme of we're just going to throw the hero in, where they're borderline retired or they've already been, as if we've clearly gotten too much Green Lantern content over the years. So it just kind of looks bland to me. I'm not really that excited at all about it. It's already annoying. It's a show. They've already got ridicule of how it's the looks of it, and just already seeing that it is so far ahead in this kind of career for the Lanterns is just I'm kind of over this trend. So we have not gotten enough Green Lantern content to be doing this with this kind of characters. But
Yeah,
I
agree.
Okay, yes, and I'm going to put this out there before I say what I say, because I have a slightly different opinion on that. I agree. I love Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. He's probably like my number one Green Lantern. However, we did already get one before. So I don't mind that they're going in this direction if they're going to stay with Jon Stewart being the main Green Lantern, because he is the main Green Lantern in certain iterations of DC. So I don't mind that. And, Aaron Pierre is pretty young. He's still like, I think, early 30s. He plays that new Rook Green Lantern well. So I don't mind if that's what they're going to do. I just don't like the fact that I have a feeling that Hal Jordan is going to die. I don't want that to happen. I don't mind that he's like an older veteran, but I don't appreciate, just killing him off just because there's too many Green Lanterns, because there can never be too many Green Lanterns, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll say Superman made sense. Let's skip over him being a child and everything. Everyone knows the backstory. Fantastic Four, when Marvel did it last year, I understand, let's not do the entire backstory. People get it. Green Lantern hasn't had that in media, like Josh said, so why do we need to just already introduce somebody who clearly has been a Green Lantern and the whole, like, passing on the torch already kind of storyline? But to be honest with you, this was way more time than I wanted to spend on Lantern, because DC didn't show up anything, so they don't deserve to be talked about. So, yeah, it's a TV show. I thought we'd real quick talk about Marvel also put out the first Doomsday trailer. This was ahead of Comic-Con, but I thought we'd just real quick touch on this. The main things of this one is we got to hear Robert Downey Jr.'s voice over throughout the trailer. We saw shots of him in Doom, not super close shots for the most part. They were kind of quick shots and like zoomed in on certain things, not like a full body one, but so we never saw his actual face under the mask, what he'll look like, but we got to hear him, see him a little bit. We got Serious Thor is back. He voiced over the last half of it, so that was good to see. And then kind of the end surprise shot, if you want to call it, the thing at the end was Thor reacting to seeing Chris Evans coming back as Steve Rogers and saying this can't be possible. And then he hit him with the dual factor verification and had him call Mjolnir back to him. So those are kind of the big three things I would say. Like I said, this was pre-Comic-Con, so I wasn't going to go too in-depth on this one. But if either of you want to give your comments on that. Oh, along with this, the tickets went on sale with this trailer, which was a big deal because they came up with Infinity Vision to steal some large formats from Dune. I don't fully know how that works, but somehow Marvel was able to finesse and steal some of those large formats.
It's the fucking stupid marketing.
I could jump in on this one. Yeah, Infinity Vision literally is nothing. It is straight up just a sticker that you put on that is saying, hey, does this theater have basically an HD projector to project our movies, and that is the qualifications for Infinity Vision. That's literally what Disney writes in the description of what the Infinity Vision is. So it's kind of just crazy that that was their marketing ploy. I don't know why it was that big of a deal, honestly. Yeah, they made it way too big of a deal that they didn't get the IMAX rights, like it even fucking mattered, because tickets are selling like crazy anyways. The trailer. Gotta say, I think the trailer was better than I was expecting. I definitely feel better about this movie than I think I have in the past year. So for me, I think it was definitely an overall win for Marvel. I think RDJ's voice wasn't too bad. We'll see how it is for the full length of the film. Obviously, I'm assuming they're picking his best voice lines for the first trailer, so we'll see. But yeah, I mean, gave you just enough for me to be like, okay, I'm down for it. And obviously, they're showing that, hey, Doom is going to be powerful as hell, and we'll see how they actually are willing to commit to that for an entire film.
Yeah, I'm not going to take too much time. Same thing. The only thing that I'll add is that they did drop a teaser poster as well with him kind of like his back, his back. He has his mask in his hand and he's looking up at a tapestry of what is speculated to be his wife and daughter or child. So, that was also pretty cool. But I guess we'll also touch on the thing that they also revealed, not to the public yet, but at San Diego Comic-Con. So, Blake, if you want to go into that as well.
Yeah, so now we actually get into Comic-Con, and before Marvel's big Hall H presentation Saturday night, they started off by having some costumes of people who are in Doomsday up, and we saw, I believe it was Thor, Sue, Captain America, Anthony Mackie, Captain America. Mm-hmm. Was there other people's?
Namor was in there. I believe I don't think there was Doom's costume was.
Oh yeah, Doom's costume. No, Doom's came out on Saturday, because then we had the Latverian witch. She came. I think that was Thursday or Friday. We got the first color, and the next day we got a different color. There was only two, right? It was green. No,
it was three.
It was green, brown, purple. Mm-hmm. And then people were thinking purple, on Saturday, people were thinking that we might get a red one, thinking Wanda might, and then Saturday was actually Doctor Doom's, kind of like a close-up, so people were getting pictures of that. That was on Saturday. So those ones came out. That was kind of the early, before, like I said, Marvel came out. So that was putting out a lot of discourse online. People were getting like, what is this Latverian witch? What do these colors mean? Like I said, a lot of people were speculating we're going to get a red one soon, and then we might get Wanda. Did not get that, but overall, I mean, it was definitely a big thing that everyone was talking about, these Latverian witch costumes.
It looks cool, man. It looks cool. And, like, I think we all said it. It kind of gives Doom a little more dimension, having like these witches along, like beside him, as is like almost Children of Thanos-esque kind of feel. This is definitely intriguing at the bare minimum. Just don't know how they're going to use them yet.
Yeah, it was a cool reveal. I mean, seriously, that was out of nowhere, and kind of can just hope for the best. Obviously, there's a lot of theories for it, but nonetheless, it's definitely kind of a cool, fun way to reveal that. I don't think there's really any leaks or anyone expecting that either coming up, because this has definitely been a movie that's had a lot of leaks that we're waiting to see if they're true or not. So that was kind of a fun reveal for sure.
Yeah, that seemed like it came out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting that to come up, and like you said, we'll see how much they play a part in the movie, because there's been quite a few leaks of different things and nothing of these characters, so who really knows what they're going to be. So then we'll actually get...
Oh, sorry. I also wanted to add, because you do introduce these witches, it does confirm that Doom is not only like a very smart genius on the scientific side, he is very much going to be involved with the magical side as well.
Yeah, and his suit definitely shows that too.
Right, true, but we still haven't seen it, but now with like the confirmation of him having these witches but at his side, it just pretty much confirms that he's going to have both. Which, we definitely didn't want a watered-down version of Doctor Doom, so they are going to go
Which
there.
The Russo brothers have talked about that. I've seen clips of them on stage saying, like, what we know about him, and they have been very clear to be like, he's a sorcerer, he's one of the smartest people. Like, They have been trying to make sure we know that he has kind of merged both the scientific mind of being smart in our realm, as well as kind of learning magic and sorcery to be on that side of the world. But then we get into Saturday. We'll kind of go what I believe the order was. I didn't fully research everything, but I did enough. But I believe Comic-Con started with Kevin Feige being on stage essentially and talking about what the future of Marvel is going to be. And then up on the stage behind him, we got a big Ghost Rider symbol title card to kind of see what the title card, what the font was going to look like of Ghost Rider. And then he talked a little bit, the power went out, and then Ryan Gosling appeared in front of everybody on the stage. People went crazy. Ryan Gosling said a couple words like, "This has always been my dream project. Like, I'm so excited." And then he introduced that there's only one man that he thinks who can do it. And then Sean Levy came out and was announced as the director. And this kind of ended with them announcing this would be sometime in 2028. We did not get a release date, but we know Ghost Rider, starring Ryan Gosling, directed by Sean Levy, coming out 2028. Josh, as the Gosling guy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy they actually got it pulled off. I mean, this has been talked about literally since, almost 4 years ago is when it was first talked about. There's this one reporter, I don't know how to say his last name, but it's like Josh
Horowitz.
Yeah, he has kind of just jokingly been talking about Ryan Gosling, and then would have interviews with him and Kevin Feige, and then obviously Ryan Gosling's always been open about this role because obviously his wife was in the original one. Kind of crazy, and it was fun how they revealed it. It was definitely kind of a classic Comic-Con reveal. It was fun. They played around with it. Definitely was nerdy as hell, but I think I'm excited for it. It was a cool announcement, and just touch on to the people that are bitching about Sean Levy. Let's shut the fuck up. Let's stop being pretentious. Give it a chance, all right? I mean, I think we also get a movie that comes out before this one with Star Wars Starfighter to really see how they do as a duo together. So I don't know why we're being so goddamn annoying about these two. Obviously, Ryan Gosling is excited to work with them, literally picked him for it. And he already has a good track record for Marvel with having a billion-dollar project that everybody loved. Don't pretend like you didn't fucking love it, because it has great reviews, shit ton of money. So give it a chance. Let's stop pretending like this is the worst pairing of all goddamn time. Guy also has one of the best writing directors and ratings for Stranger Things in the more serious episodes, in a show that definitely has the times where it is too much of a comedy. So let's chill.
Yeah, I'm like,
definitely a great announcement.
They're acting as if he can't do this dark kind of movie. It's like directors aren't just shoehorned into one area. He clearly has shown he has range. He's done fucking Free Guy, and he's done Deadpool and Wolverine. He's done Stranger Things, and some like you said, some of the darkest episodes of Stranger Things, particularly in season 4. We were like, okay, yeah, he can clearly do this. And like you said, Gosling has advocated for him. He pitched his idea for his vision of Ghost Rider to Sean Levy while he's doing Starfighter, because he enjoyed the experience of working with him on that film so much. And then he was like, oh yeah, this is cool. So then they both were like, let's go pitch this to Kevin. And Kevin was like, yeah, this will work. And they want to do this as their next film. So I'm like, I have no reason not to trust them.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I'm not quite with everybody else. I'm not quite as high, I guess, as you two are. I am a little bit like, okay, interesting, just because I didn't watch Stranger Things, so I don't know. All I do know is, from what I've seen of him, he has been a very lighthearted, cameo-fest person between Free Guy and Deadpool and Wolverine. Not saying that I'm like everyone else, I hate it, but I am just a little skeptical. But really, my big thing is, which does give me hope for it, is I'm not going to fault him as much if they don't let him do R-rated. And it gives me hope that he did the first official, I mean, obviously, Deadpool and Wolverine did kind of canon the events of the other Deadpool movies, and Logan is now kind of canon, but and those were R-rated, but Marvel's like first official R-rated release was Deadpool and Wolverine, which was by him, and it did $1 billion. So I hope that gives, I'm not going to hold it against him, if it's not anything spectacular, because it's mainly Marvel. I hope they just trust him and let him do an R-rated version, and then I'll be fully bought in. So it's not really as much as I'm skeptical because of it's him. It's more of, we need Marvel to get on board and be like, hey, PG-13 might be okay, depending on what you do, but if we want to actually do Ghost Rider that people are going to really enjoy, we don't need to do a crazy high budget. Let's make it a little lower budget, give it an R rating, and that can still be a success. So that's kind of, I'm a little more skeptical when it comes to that part. But I mean, I'm not quite on, I'm like, it's an interesting casting. I'm okay with it, or not casting, announcement of him directing, but I'm not quite on the super, super high up their list like you two are, but we'll see.
Plus,
we still got
have to wait and see for Starfighter. Like, if Starfighter ends up being pretty good, and it looks like it is, I feel like that's where we can make our,
It depends on the tone. If it's good, but it's kind of similar to those ones, then I'm still going to have some concerns.
Okay.
I have a tiny, tiny bit of me is a little Taika Waititi in him. Is it going to get too far out there? That's my little bit of my concern. Is he going to get, because he did Free Guy, and he loved Taika, and he thought Taika was the funniest person in the world and let him do whatever in Free Guy. So my thing is like, hey, I'm not completely afraid of him, but if Starfighter, if I do for some reason watch that, and I feel like it is a very jovial cameo fest, whatever thing, then I'm going to be like, okay, we might got a Taika Thor 4 situation on our hands with Ghost Rider.
I wouldn't be that worried about that with him. I feel like he delivers more of what the studio wants than expecting kind of like Taika of going willy-nilly. So that's what actually makes me feel a bit better about this pairing of this two. As well as obviously Ryan Gosling's on a run. I would think, ironically, you'd be a bit more concerned about Ryan Gosling not taking it as serious and being more action comedy when his last couple movies have all been action comedies.
Listen, I was going to say it.
Since it's been a while since he's done a serious one. I mean, the most recent one that can come to mind is, like, for me, that's in the action series, is just Blade Runner. So now that's carrying my opinion hard. Obviously, this is my second favorite. But I think maybe I'm just defending too hard of Sean Levy just because people are being way too pretentious assholes. Listen, you can be a little skeptical about it. Obviously these two have a chemistry, which is always a good thing, and maybe will allow Ryan to have more of a voice if he does want it to be more serious. But I feel like you're giving a little bit too much on Sean Levy when we've kind of really recently just been seeing all out of Ryan Gosling of just the action comedy.
True.
But I think they should be just given a chance. Just writing it off already is just insane. This is a cool announcement. It was a fun moment. Come on, people.
I agree. And I will say, I was more on the side of the other people, and both of you are like, all these people who are Sean Levy. I was like, yeah, these guys are being ridiculous. But I am definitely a little bit more in the camp of like, do I trust Ryan Gosling and him to give me a good Ghost Rider? That's not going to be, because like you said, Ryan Gosling, the last 5 movies have been him playing a pretty similar character across the 5 movies. If we're being honest, I mean, there's not a huge difference, I don't think, between Ken and his character in Fall Guy and his character in Project Hail Mary, kind of just this lovable guy. So I will say I am a little more in the camp of, I'm not like completely like this movie's going to suck, but I am a little bit more hesitant than I am excited for it as of right now. But we'll see. It's a long ways away. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a glimpse of him in Doomsday or Secret Wars, which would kind of help the tone. But we'll see. Then moving on, the next thing we got was a little bit of Spider-Man, as Kevin Feige was out there and John Bernthal came up. He was the only one of the Spider-Man Brand New Day cast to be there. I believe I saw like Tom and Zendaya were in Shanghai or something like that. I'm pretty sure they're over somewhere in either Europe or Asia still promoting Brand New Day. So they weren't there. So John Bernthal was the only one who came on stage. And they didn't really do too much for this. They just talked a little bit, whatever, and then they showed a clip, which from the description, the clip was basically Spider-Man and Punisher, kind of that we've seen in the trailer, like them fighting Hulk, in what seems to be like a DODC building, that huge building that we've seen clips in the trailers of like Spider-Man and Hulk busting out of it, like falling out of it. So apparently it was just a little bit of that people said was a good clip, but that's really all we got on Spider-Man without any of the cast being there. Plus, I wondered how much, with it being a Sony project, and it is only like 5-ish days away from the time of that, who knows how, you don't really need to pour a whole lot into it. At that point, they already knew pretty much they were opening at an estimated like, what, $600-700 million opening weekend. It's like, I don't think we really need to do a big push 6 days out. We know, opening weekend, we're doing numbers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, not really a whole lot for Spider-Man.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. This few days away. Can't wait. Just want it to be good. Want it to be good.
I got faith. And then this is the last little bullshit thing that we got. The Russos came back out and they did a quick talk about the whole Endgame, whatever, Encore version. And they just talked about there's going to be like a little bit of new content, not anything crazy. They showed like a new trailer for it, essentially, just like a different trailer that the reports say that it focused heavily on the time heist, as well as showing the scene of Tony saying the line of like, when you mess with time, time tends to mess back. That was in the trailer, so people are like, okay, are we supposed to read into that? That's what they decided to show, was the time heist and that line. But that was essentially really all they talked about with the new Endgame Encore that comes out in September.
Yeah, this is kind of just a weird little thing that they're kind of dying on. It seems very unnecessary at this point. I mean, they're already shown that it's going to be just like 6 to maybe 10 minutes is what it's reporting of extra scenes for a long-ass film. I don't know. Kind of seems odd. They kind of go this approach, but whatever. There's very whatever about it. Too much focus on it.
Yeah, I don't really understand the point.
Yeah, it seems very gimmicky, kind of like the Infinity Vision to me. You know, it's like you're just doing it just to do it. You know, and like you guys mentioned, you know, trying to push it back to number one. I've read somewhere where it wouldn't technically count because it's like retitled Encore, so it wouldn't go to like the main Endgame. Like full budget, or not budget, gross. So yeah, I'm not even sure why they're even doing it, but I guess sources say that like the ending of Endgame, where the new footage is going to be, is like what would have been like the introduction or like the brief intro to Doomsday. So that's their way of like cutting down on Doomsday. So I don't know. It's weird to me.
I agree. I mean, when I first saw it, I said something. I was like, "Is this just them trying to get to number one?" You said it doesn't count. So I was like, "Okay, well, I can almost guarantee I won't be seeing if it is in the theater near me. I'll just wait online for the clip of whatever, like 2 new clips they add that'll lead us to Doomsday and call it a day." And then we actually get to when it actually matters. We get the Doomsday part of the Comic-Con. This is where pretty much the entire cast, or a huge chunk of the Doomsday cast, all came out. They came out on 2 different stages. They had one in the front and a stage in the back for the people in the back. There were some of the more B-list, I would say, members of it. This included the Thunderbolts, some of the new Avengers, I believe, except for like 2 or 3 were on the main stage, and then the old X-Men. Pretty much all are just like thrown in the back, like, hey, people in the back, look, you still get something too. And then on the front was the real A-list stars that matter. Something that was interesting of this, Haley Atwell was one of the people. She obviously was kind of loosely confirmed. She never got like a chair, and we didn't see her in any of the trailer or teasers or the new trailer, but she was out there with them, so we knew she will be in it in some capacity. Captain Carter's coming back. Big hype, everybody. Along with this, we had Ryan Reynolds, or a Deadpool, in the audience that Robert Downey Jr. had an interaction with, and then we realized it was Ryan Reynolds dressed up in an all denim looking, like grayish Deadpool suit. And basically, the whole point of the gag, it seemed like they were basically saying that he won't be in Doomsday. He said something like, "Oh, when you guys filming?" They're like, "Oh, we're already wrapped." And he was like, "Oh, you don't have time for anybody else." So it seems like Deadpool won't be in Doomsday, but it was hinting that either we'll see him in the future, possibly Secret Wars, or maybe, like we said, Deadpool 4 did make $1 billion. It would be interesting that Sean Levy, who did that one, is now doing Ghost Rider, so he won't be a part of the 4th one. So will they make a 4th Deadpool with a 4th director? That would be interesting to see. So I guess we'll see. Some people were saying, was there a reason that he was in a denim gray, jean gray Spider-Man Brand New Day? We still, as of recording, don't know who Sadie Sink is. Who knows if that was the point, or I believe that's like his X-Force. I think in the comics, when he's in the X-Force, he wears that suit, so maybe it's something hinted at that. Who knows? So that's pretty much the whole point of that little gimmick, most people thought. And then it ended with them showing a new trailer, which I thought was interesting, considering we finally just got a trailer. I don't want to talk too much about it, because, I mean, it's not spoiler, because it was a trailer, so we'll eventually get it. But basically, just a quick synopsis, it seemed like it was very Doom power-focused, showing how powerful he is, doing some of the stuff, as well as it was voiced over primarily by Vanessa Kirby, talking about, like, Victor was always the smartest man. I knew he was hurt. It's something along the lines like, I knew he was hurt. I didn't know he was damaged. So it does give us the feeling that this Doom came from their universe, which would be interesting, and that the Fantastic Four had a relationship and knew Victor before turning into this. Along with it, there's a scene of apparently Reed talking to him, asking him, "Did you do this, Victor?" So it seems like Victor might present himself as like a friend, and then they learn that he's the one doing what's ever going on. And that's pretty much it. I think we do get a little more of Doom talking, but not much. It's primarily Vanessa Kirby kind of voicing it over from the reports of those who were in the hall. It'll be interesting to see when we get this. As we know, the first trailer that we all finally just saw, whatever that was, 2 weeks ago, was shown 3 months ago, I think, in April, and it finally got put out. So will this trailer also, will we be waiting a while? Will it be coming soon? Some people are speculating brand new day. Will we get that original trailer finally shown to us that we just got, or will they give this new trailer? That'll be interesting to see. You figure it'll be one of those trailers, but yeah, that was kind of it for the Doomsday front of the Comic-Con.
If I'm not mistaken, I think there was also a line in there from Thor where he's saying that something about hell, and then Doom's like, "Yeah, hell bends to me." And
yes,
like,
apparently it was
just bitch slaps Stormbreaker away. Yeah, like, okay.
Apparently, I don't know if it was right the timing. It seems like before we see in the first trailer the clip of him bringing Stormbreaker down on him, it seemed like either right before that jump he says something like, "You'll beg for hell before I grant it," Thor does, and then he goes for Doom. And Doom blocks Stormbreaker, throws Stormbreaker to the side, and then like pushes Thor back. Very like didn't take a lot of effort for Doom, and Thor went flying back. And then Robert Downey Jr. says something along the lines of "Hell bends to me" or "Hell answers to me." So kind of cool. Well, I guess when we actually see it, I'm sure that line will hit. But yeah, so that was the big Doomsday announcements that we got.
Yeah, I mean, excited. I think that new trailer, if it gets shown to us, which I highly doubt, but the first place that I think that they would show it would be at D23, which I believe is sometime in August. If I'm not mistaken.
August. I don't remember when.
It's like middle of August. I feel it's like the 13th, or it's like towards the end of the week on the second week, I believe, of August. So that's where I think they might put it out. Otherwise, I don't think they're going to put it out until like sometime late September, probably by Endgame when that re-release happens. So it's probably when they're going to actually do it.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good overall, I gotta say. I mean, I think this is cool. The suit looks cool. Everything overall for me was a win. I like the fact that it definitely was limited. I know people are kind of complaining they didn't get revealed too much. I'm okay with that. I think kind of knowing less going into this film was helping it for me personally. So I thought they revealed just enough to pique my interest again in this film. I'm kind of feeling a little bit excited, which I never would have guessed I would have at this point.
For a Avengers movie? You didn't think you'd be excited for an Avengers movie?
No,
that's crazy.
Come on, listen how we
not even with the whole mix of like Dune and Doomsday happening the same day.
Come on. I mean, we all were like, this is annoying, but like we knew the second we got a trailer, all three of us were gonna be like, we need to get our tickets right this second, because that's exactly what the fuck happened.
Hey, like, the Doomsday is different. That's all three for us. Okay.
Marvel could put 5 shitty movies out in a row and then be like, we have a new Avengers movie, and us three would be like, who cares? And the second we hear of a trailer coming, we're like, get the tickets. We're all going to Illinois.
And clearly we're not the only ones in the same boat, because that trailer did nuts views.
Yes.
Like 500,
I forgot to mention that.
500 mil in 24 hours, I believe.
Yep.
And I was about 10 of those.
Second biggest. Yeah.
And hit the let me rewatch it. It's rewind time a couple times on that one. So
yeah, Marvel with 2 in the same year has like the highest views in 24 hours, with Brand New Day at number 1, Doomsday at number 2, which is nuts. And that's not even talking about the tickets.
Yeah, and from the sounds of it, whenever they put out that new trailer, that's going to have crazy numbers too, because that one sounded badass. But that was it from the Doomsday one. And then the final one is Kevin Feige said, we have one more thing for you. And he came out and announced that on the background it showed Black Panthers 3. Again, their title card similar to Ghost Rider, just kind of showing us the font and stuff of it. He brought out Letitia Wright, Shuri, Winston Duke, M'Baku, and Ryan Coogler. And they came out and said that this movie will be released December 17th, 2028. Interesting, Ghost Rider just got 2028. This one got a specific day release. And along with that, they announced that part of this movie would be shot on IMAX, which makes sense. Ryan Coogler, after doing Sinners, that he now has his IMAX relationship and is going to be doing that. And then they announced that David Johnson, not the former fantasy star David Johnson, a different David Johnson, is playing T'Challa Jr., the one that we saw at the end of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, as his son, but clearly aged up quite a bit by the time we get to this, as David Johnson came out. David Johnson was in Alien Romulus as well as The Long Walk. Those were his two most recent, biggest movies. For those who haven't seen it, about the announcement, which is everybody watching this obviously knows, but that was really the close of kind of the Comic Con for Marvel.
I gotta say, yeah, it's gonna be interesting how they do the age thing for him, because since Yuri is so young looking, at least the actress is, not against her on that, it's just she is. So how are you gonna kind of
what are you against her with?
No, just the fact that I don't know how you're going to do the age with him looking so old.
Yeah, but you said that's not the thing I'm against her with. You said something else you're against her with for.
No, I don't mean that I was against her with that.
Yeah, but anyways, with something else perhaps?
Nope. So, what was I saying? That it was interesting casting. We'll see. I mean, I saw Alien Romulus, obviously, but he was playing a robot weirdo. So now playing kind of
dual role technically.
Yeah, main action star. We'll see.
Yeah, I liked him in Alien Romulus, and from what I hear, he had a really good performance in The Long Walk. I never wanted to watch The Long Walk just because it feels like it's just a long walk. It's literally just people walking, so I don't know how interesting that would be exactly. But from what I've been told is that his performance in that is amazing. So I'm like, okay, well, I might just watch clips of that, just to kind of get a glimpse of what he's doing in there, But yeah, I think when it comes to the age thing, it might have to be something, because it is supposedly taking place after Secret Wars. Something's gonna happen, Battle World's gonna probably be created at the end of Doomsday, and then something's gonna happen. Things are gonna break apart. There's going to be a little mini reset, and then certain people's fates stay the same. Some people age up. They're probably going to explain all that, and that'll not even be a whole issue. But I don't think he's that old. I don't know if you guys know what his age is off the top of your.
I want to say he was 24.
No.
Oh,
he's 32.
What the fuck? He's 32.
He's 32. Yeah. He's 32. Oh, Letitia Wright is also 32. That's funny. I mean,
like you said,
he doesn't look 32.
Yeah, he looks hella young. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I fully expect that we'll see him in Secret Wars, and there'll be some kind of time dilation thing, just because that's a character that I doubt they will introduce for the first time. I mean, obviously, we saw Black Panther. T'Challa himself was introduced in Civil War, which was a Russo brother movie, and then he got a solo one. Spider-Man was also introduced in that, so it's not uncommon for them to introduce their characters beforehand. So I agree, that's kind of what I'm guessing will happen with that. But yeah, I mean, I was definitely excited to see Ryan Coogler coming back for it. You kind of figured he would, but it's just nice to kind of get that confirmation. And obviously the second one was not fantastic in terms of ratings. It did great box office wise, and as somebody, I really enjoyed it for the most part until the end happened, and then we got into just a sloppy CGI fest of the suits and everything, and it got rough. But up until that point, I really enjoyed it, so definitely what I'm excited for. I think just the bigger takeaway for me is there was already a lot of rumors that Black Panther was going to get either a recasting or something. A lot of people thought it was Dame Idris, as there was already like art of some kind of Black Panther. So like that kind of stuff was kind of, my big thing was the fact that got a release date and Ghost Rider didn't. I thought that was very interesting that obviously Ghost Rider has to come out before this because this is December 17th, 2028. So you figure Ghost Rider is going to be either the May or the July. Those are kind of Marvel's two big release points that they do besides of December or November, which clearly this won't be November, unless they throw Ghost Rider in that February release, which they have done every now and then. Brave New World was a February release, so to me that was kind of a very interesting part that this got a specific release date.
Yeah, and you got to imagine. I mean, are we gonna talk about it? Secret Wars, that's not gonna stay at that December 2027 release date. It's gonna get pushed back.
My thing is, it's just gonna be interesting, right? I'm interested that December or 2027 has no releases, which makes sense at this point. You can't film and produce and put out a movie in 2027 anymore. Besides Secret Wars, obviously, is coming December. Mm-hmm. At this point, I mean, they almost need to keep it. Otherwise, there's no way Secret Wars gets the February release.
Yeah, no.
So unless they do, like, Ghost Rider gets a February release in between, and then Secret Wars comes out in May, I just think it would be odd to do Secret Wars May, Ghost Rider July, and then Black Panther December. That just seems very crammed that they would have to do February, May, July, one of those two, and then December. And it just seems very unlikely to throw Secret Wars in February.
Yeah, no, but I think the most probable thing that they're going to do is they're going to push back to that May release, because originally Disney was going to get a May release, so they're going to push Secret Wars to the May of 2028. And I think did we all see that, where Kevin Feige was like, yeah, there's no other Marvel movies that are going to come out between Doomsday and Secret Wars. So we already know that they're not going to move one of the other ones that they just announced forward to go in front of Doomsday or in front of Secret Wars. So if anything, it's going to be in that May release, and Ghost Rider might be pushed to that July release.
Yes, it just seems very cramped to do May Secret Wars, July Ghost Rider. Just that seems very quick, and then we have Black Panther at the end of the year. But yeah, that was kind of the big takeaways. That was it for the Marvel thing. So overall, I mean, like you said, I definitely was excited for it for the most part. Obviously, we got our 2 projects coming out in 2028. Nothing for 27, which was kind of expected at this point, as we're already a good chunk through 26. Yeah, I was going to say, that was kind of everything I thought was good. The only thing a lot of people were expecting some kind of X-Men mention, whatever. I'm not overly upset with that. It is like, we know it's coming, or at least we've been told it's coming. It would like a little confirmation, but I don't know if the whole Sadie Sink, who she is in Brand New Day, plays a part in that, as we haven't seen the movie yet. It's not out. This is coming out after the release of Brand New Day, so we'll know by then. Everyone is heavily expecting Jean Grey is who Sadie Sink's character is, so that would be our X-Men introduction, but maybe that's why they didn't want to touch on the X-Men yet, because they didn't want to give away who she was a week out of the movie. I don't know. It just seems very odd to me. Which is why
I'm thinking with D23 being in a few weeks after the release of the movie in August, that's probably
when they announce X-Men stuff with her.
Yeah, that's how I'm imagining it.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I will say, because I am at the point right now where it's like, what is... Is her being Jean Grey like doing anything for anybody? Like, not knowing? Like, how would that change the marketing campaign if we knew she was Jean Grey? Like, I don't think anyone's buying tickets right now because they're like, oh man, I gotta find out who she is. Like, to me, if anything, it's just letting up for more of a letdown. Like, are you going to do anything spectacular that's going to blow our minds in Brand New Day where we're like, holy shit? Because at this point, it's like, either we're going to find out she's Jean Grey and we're all going to go like, yeah, kind of duh. Or she's not going to be Jean Grey and there's like a 99% chance everyone's going to be disappointed on whatever character she is. So it's like, to me, I'm like, I don't see any way of what they're doing right now is benefiting them.
They kind of messed up with that marketing. You should have just said who it was. But either way, what I was gonna say when it comes to like the X-Men announcement is because they've had a director, and it's Jake Schreier, who did Thunderbolts, and they've been in development for it. They've already been starting the casting for it. So that's why everyone thought, it's like, okay, it seems like they've been really active on that front.
Well, no, the reports are they have not cast anybody. There's been official reports in the past 2 days that there have been no official castings done. Because there's a lot of rumors that D23 Adam Driver has been talked to. People didn't know what that role was. Kevin Feige said that they've talked to Adam Driver over the years and he's turned down projects. So there's been rumored people thinking things, but as of now, it's been reported that there has been none, which would make a little bit of sense because apparently Ryan Reynolds was only like confirmed and signed on to Ghost Rider like last weekend. Like they've been talking to him, but apparently it was not yet Gosling. Sorry. Mm-hmm. He was not officially like signed on to be Ghost Rider until it says like a week before we got Comic-Con. So it could be very true that they are talking to people still, but there isn't any official thing. And then, like you said, maybe D23, kind of deal, right? Yeah. Maybe D23 they get it done to announce it, but that's just what the reports are saying, that there is no official signed on.
Which is fair, and I think they're going to do it because that's been hinted at. That's what's the next saga is going to be heavily, involved, is going to be the mutants. So to not announce that in your future slate and have it be Black Panther 3 and Ghost Rider and no X-Men, when you've already said before in the past that X-Men are going to be like the forefront of your next phase, and you didn't announce them, that's why I'm thinking more likely than not. I mean, I highly doubt it's not going to be Jean Grey in Brand New Day. That's probably what they're waiting for after the release. I think it's going to be, at least by that point, it'll be at least 2 weeks out, maybe if not 3 weeks, that the movie's going to have already been out in theaters. They're going to start to announce the cast for the upcoming X-Men movie directed by Jake Schreier.
It'll be 2 weeks.
Out in 28.
D23 probably will take place 2 weeks after Brand New Day's release.
Okay, there we go. That should be plenty of time, if not even less. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Josh, thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I believe that the X-Men stuff's true, that they're not doing anything. I mean, we don't even know the features of the current X-Men that we already have. So,
well, they're all dead.
Yeah, they're all dead. No,
I mean, I'm saying not those. Who gives a fuck about the ones we're gonna watch die again? I mean, in like Deadpool and Wolverine. So we don't even really know fully their futures yet and what roles they're gonna be playing again, because they're not even announced in Doomsday. So
true.
We all know they're all going to show up in Secret Wars. That's going to be just...
I know, I'm just saying, but that's not even, obviously announced for a film that we know is coming. So I do believe that they truly just haven't done anything yet with X-Men. And they're just probably feeling how it is right now for these 2 Avengers films before committing to anything.
I agree. I know that they said Jake Schreier is directing and working on writing it. I don't think we'll hear anything D23 X-Men related. I think they are focused, like they've said, we want to do quality over quantity. I think right now Marvel is fully invested in Doomsday and Secret Wars. They announced Black Panther and Ghost Rider. They're going to be focused on that. I think maybe once we get Doomsday's out and Secret Wars is a little more taken care of, then they'll focus more on X-Men. But I fully don't think we're going to get announcements unless Jean Grey, Sadie Sink is Jean Grey, and she plays a role in Doomsday, which it doesn't seem like. I just don't see why they need to do anything announcing the X-Men so they can avoid a Blade situation of bringing Mahershala Ali, Blade's coming, and then nothing's happened. So
which, I mean, you could still have that happen with Ryan Gosling.
True.
You never know.
It could, I guess, but yeah, I think they're going to be very focused on not letting that happen again. Their quality over quantity is their new thing. So I agree that I don't think we're going to hear much X-Men news because I don't think we need to at this point. I don't care at this point. Give me a good Doomsday. Somehow, some way, give me Secret Wars in December of next year. I just don't see that happening. And then give me a good, Ghost Rider and Black Panther 3. Focus on those things. Like I said, when we're a year from now and Secret Wars is pretty much taken care of, then we can talk about X-Men in the future. But take care of what's in front of us right now.
Okay.
So I think that's going to do it, unless anybody else has any Comic-Con mentions that they want to.
No, we just covered it.
Yeah. All right. Then I think that'll do it for this video. As always, let us know in the comments down below what's your thoughts on Comic-Con, DC, James Gunn. What are you doing? Question. Makes no sense, buddy. But like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.